Well, here we are, Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. I'm Larissa. Fat Bitch Diary. Time to drink some skulls. Yeah. Time to drink some skulls. So, I saw, oh, Disney's giving Jimmy Kimmel his show back. Oh, how wonderful. More trash on the TV. You know, having the FCC censor people is shitty, right? Trump deciding that he wants to go after anybody who doesn't agree with him is shitty. It's fascist. But the reality is the left has been doing that for years. The only difference now is that Trump is doing it out in the open, right? That's the only difference. It's the only difference. And let me tell you, I think doing it secretly is worse than doing it out in the open. Yeah. So, like, I can't stand listening to any of these people talk like as if they are righteous warriors sticking up for free speech in the United States, because they aren't. They're opportunists just like every other piece of shit out there. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Mm. So yesterday I got a little bit of work done, and um a lot of world leaders here in New York, in the United States right now. I am going to reiterate and say again here publicly, I have requested political asylum um, from the country of Ukraine. And if the country of Ukraine grants me political asylum, I'm going to leave. I would rather live in a country where that is torn by war right now than continue to live in this shithole of a country with all of this hypocrisy and bullshit, and it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. I have ancestry in modern day Ukraine, in the area of modern day Ukraine. I've been asked by people when I was going to go back to my country. I have been held hostage and raped and abused by Native Americans, more than one, right? The country that my grandfathers fought for doesn't exist anymore. And shitbags like Jimmy Kimmel, AOC, any of the rest of them, and everybody, the Hollywood Brigade, act like they are somehow somehow have integrity, a leg to stand on, and they don't. They don't. So, I would love to go to a country where something actually means something anymore, right? Like the idea of freedom and independence means something. Because in this country, it doesn't. In this country, it's a farce. People like me are abused and enslaved and stolen from all the time, and California loves it. California in particular loves it. The fucking socialist state of California. Yeah, people out here are nothing but cheap closet bigots. So, I'd love to leave this country. Perhaps I can get political asylum in France. I don't know. Monsieur Macron. I love French cheeses. Oh my God. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The country my grandfathers fought for is gone. It's nothing. This is nothing but an openly fascist state. It's been a fascist state for quite some time. I've been saying that for quite some time, right? So, my father has the nerve to say to me, "Oh, you should be happy. How is your life terrible? You have a husband with such a successful career." Oh yeah, because that's something I should be proud of. Oh yeah, look at me. I got a husband with a career. Ugh, disgusting. My father's a sexist jerk, just like the rest of them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And my family are petty assholes. All of them. My cousins, my siblings, all of them. Petty assholes. Hmm. I've had so many family heirlooms stolen. You can't tell me that somebody coming in my house who knows what the family heirlooms are, because they aren't necessarily things that are monetarily expensive looking, right? Or of high monetary value. Just sentimental things, right? Those things get damaged or stolen. You can't tell me that that's just some random asshole off the street. That's somebody in my family. And there's a history of it in my family, right? So I have this rocking chair, right? There used to be two of them. One of them got stolen by a family member. Nobody's really sure which one it was. But evidently, there was a family member that had the other one down in Florida, and it was stolen out of their house. Hmm. It's the way my family is. They're shitty. They're shitty and petty. And it doesn't matter how much money they do or don't have. They're all the same, right? So I'm really glad that I don't have any kids to perpetuate this shitty fucking family. And I used to, what just blows my mind is there was a time in my life where I thought my family was something special. I did. I had admiration for them. I wrote an entire concert about it and thought that my family would be touched. No, 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 no. That was just Larissa being self-centered. I wrote a concert. I put together a concert about them, and I was told that I was being selfish. No, the problem is I have a cousin who is very wealthy, and had my family supported me in my career aspirations and I had been successful, I would have had more money than him. And that's what the problem is, right? Mm, yeah. Yep, because he was there in Chicago. He was there in Chicago. Hmm. Yep. What am I talking about? Chicago. I went and did this like audition in Chicago for this organization that was shitty. Yeah. Yeah. Because my family are ignorant when it comes to art. Oh, sure. Some of them have lived overseas or whatever, but they're all fucking ignorant when it comes to art and culture. They are. They're fucking ignorant. They had no understanding of the work that I was doing. None of them took any time to ask me any questions about it. They know nothing about art. It was like when I was in college and I was doing that piece about exploitation of women. I made this sympathy belly thing. I look back at it now, and it was you know executed. It was a little heavy handed, right? Like it's not. I would have. I go about addressing the topic in a different way now. Um, but at the time, it was a little kitschy. I made a sympathy belly, right? Made a cast of my body and was covering it collage style with pornographic images of women. And it had straps. I put straps on it so like you could put it on and wear it, right? And it was a comparison between, like a guy can put on his sympathy belly when his wife is pregnant to see what it's like to carry that weight and blah 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 blah, right? And he's like, "Oh, I can try to understand and walk with you on your journey," kind of thing. And so that's what this was. This was a sympathy belly. My mother, my mother couldn't understand that, right? All she saw were the pornographic images, and how dare I bring that in her house? Because she's ignorant. And that's the way my entire family is. So I did nude work. I did nude work because I couldn't afford to hire a model to do the work for me. So I used myself. Oh, and that offended everybody. Oh my God, look at Larissa. Oh my God, Larissa. Well, the real sluts were my two sisters, right? It just, the ignorance of my family, the ignorance and fear of my family, that exists within them. Yeah. Yeah. They just have zero concept. And none of them can accept any responsibility for the bullshit that they've done to me because they've done some horrible shit to me. Horrible shit. And none of them can apologize. I've never heard anybody in my family apologize for anything. Oh, I've apologized all the time. Like growing up, that was like my job. I was the professional apologizer in the family, right? I always had to apologize for everything. And I was the scapegoat. I've always been the scapegoat in my family. Not the black sheep, the scapegoat, right? They might as well be Jews celebrating Yom Kippur. If you're Jewish, you probably know what I'm talking about. No, it's not a derogatory comment against Jews. It's a direct comment on a Jewish practice and where the term scapegoat comes from. Yeah. During Yom Kippur, the tradition is take to choose a goat from the herd and for everybody to accuse the goat, put all of their sins upon that goat and run the goat out of town. The goat's innocent, remember. Remember, the goat is innocent. The goat hasn't done shit. But so nobody has to really, accept accountability or responsibility. It's like, oh, now we can wipe the slate clean because the goat's gone. That shitty goat. The scapegoat's gone. That's what the practice is. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I learned about that from Heath Weiner, who lived in my house for a while. When Omar and I were separated, Heath rented a room in the house. He was one of the boarders I took in. Um, and he wasn't creepy, like I didn't have any problem with Heath. Um, he was a good roommate. But yeah, he's the one who told me about that. He's the one who told me about that. Kept a kosher kitchen for him until the woman I had to kick out, who was crazy heroin addict, used all of the dishes in the cupboard that were. I told her, I said, please don't use these for cooking pork or shellfish. She used all of them to cook pork while she was practicing voodoo in my kitchen. Oh my God, high on heroin. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Heath told me about Yom Kippur and the scapegoat, where that comes from. Yeah. He apologized to me one time because that's the other thing. On Yom Kippur, Jewish New Year, you're supposed to apologize to any other Jew you did something against, right? I'm like, Keith, why are you apologizing to me? I'm not a Jew. He's like, oh, he says, oh, Larissa, it's Yom Kippur. If I've done anything this year to offend you, I'm sorry. Like, Heath, what the hell is this bullshit? That's not an apology. He had said a couple really fucking rude things to me. He could have apologized to me directly for those things, but he didn't. If I did anything offensive to you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Craziness, craziness, craziness. Yeah. No, no. Last time I saw my family, they literally scapegoated me, right? They had like this elaborate, they did this elaborate like role play thing. It was weird. Like I knew something was weird. I wasn't gonna go hang out with them after the funeral. Like after my grandmother's funeral, I cried, not because I was sad that my grandmother was dead, but just because it was like, oh my God, all of this is like come to an end finally. And it was just like, oh, because there had been this horrible, horrible, all this horrible family history, right? And it was like with her gone, it was like all of this, like I could finally let go, right? And I had no idea. Or I think they did, but they were just like, they were just shitty. They were just shitty, telling me I was crazy for crying. Oh, you're crazy for having an emotion. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. My family's abusive. They're totally abusive. So I wasn't gonna go over to spend any time with them after the funeral. What I was going to do was pack up my stuff and drive into the city and get a hotel room near the airport so I could just leave the next morning early, which is what I ended up doing. Anyway, but not when I had planned to do, right? Like I was staying at this B&B in Johnstown. And I went back and I was packing up my bag and my father called me. He's like, "Oh, if you want to come hang out with us, you can." I'm like, I was like, "What do you mean? If I want to, I can." Like, I was like, "This is a little weird." But I was like, "Okay, this is my father's weird way of saying we'd like you to come spend time with us." Right? And that's what I was hoping. Twisted, you know, I don't know why I would think my family would like want to spend time with me. I don't know why I would be stupid enough to think that, but I was. So they had this whole big setup. And they were like threatening to like call the police on me. And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Yeah. They physically assaulted me. My father physically assaulted me. Yes. Yes. It was like this big, I don't know. It was almost, I'm like, where's the hidden camera? What is going on here? It was ridiculous. It was hurtful. It was mean. It was more than mean. It was more than mean. It was disgusting and evil. Right? Yeah. Do you want to go home or do you want to go to jail, Larissa? I'm like, go to jail for what? You guys are all the ones that are fucking drunk? Yeah. Yeah, they were. They were all of them were fucking drunk as hell. Oh my God. And they physically attacked me. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yep. That is what happened. And so I went and packed up, finished packing up my shit, loaded in the car, checked out, and went and drove back into from Johnstown and closer to Pittsburgh. Went and saw it was the last time I saw my Aunt Audrey, was after they all attacked me. I told my Aunt Audrey what happened, and and I had to write everything down because she was deaf. She could read some lips and stuff, but it was easier, Plus, I didn't want to talk for her to read my lips because she had her in-home care worker there, and I didn't know her, so I didn't want to be. So she could hear what my Aunt Audrey said to me, but she didn't know what I was saying to her, right? I wrote out. I told my Aunt Audrey what happened. My Aunt Audrey was like, "Oh," she goes, "Your mother is not nice." She goes, "I hope she says I hope she changes her mind." I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I don't know. I still don't know for sure what the hell she was talking about. But there was obviously some family plan to try to hurt me, right? It was like a family. It was a family plan, and they've done this shit to me before. They've done this shit to me before, and it's to cover their own asses, right? Because they do horrible things to me and steal from me and all kinds of shit. So, and I told her what had happened with the car and how somebody had broken into the car, and she's like, "That is just not nice." She goes, she said to me, she goes, "They're looking for drugs." I'm like, and I said, "That's crazy." I said, "I don't have any drugs." Yeah. And my Aunt Roseanne, she kept on saying, "I bet you somebody around here has doobies on them." That's what she kept saying. I'm like, really? Who's got doobies on them, Roseanne? Who? I didn't fly into fucking Pittsburgh with any marijuana on me. No, bitch, I didn't. Just, I wish I could because a cannabis product using a CBD product really helps with my pain, especially after getting off a fucking plane. But no, bitch, I did not have any cannabis on me. Any doobies. Fucking lunatics. Fucking crazy ass lunatics. So, yeah, it's the last time I saw my family. That's the last time I saw them. And that's what they did to me. Yeah, they fucking attacked me physically. My father had me in this like bear hug. I had to bite him to get him to let me go. Fucking grown woman, and these people are doing this. My mom's hitting me. My mom was hitting me. Oh my god. And Roseanne's screaming, "You're gonna go to jail, Larissa." I'm like, for what? For what? For doobies. Oh my god. Stupid. Stupid people. Stupid fucking people. Yeah. Oh my god. So I'd be happy. There's no reason for me to stay in this country. There's no reason for me to reconcile with my family. There's nothing to reconcile. They would have to do a lot of explaining and a lot of apologizing. And I'd have to believe it. So, yeah. Oh, and they're right wing, anti choice Republicans. They are. They are. And that's why they hate me, because I am not. Yeah. Oh, and I outed them for being gypsies. Oh, ooh. Ignorant. 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 Totally ignorant. Both sides. Both sides. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah. So the recognition of Palestine is a big deal. And Monsieur Macron, good for you, sir. I watched some of your initial speech, and I could see in your body language, like you were very brave in your words. You were very brave in offering your words publicly, and it's a I think it's something that all of Europe is going to have to come to. Um, I believe it was wrong after World War II to establish the state of Israel. I think therein lay the biggest part of the problem. And not because I think that Jewish people deserved to be harmed by Hitler the way that they were. They weren't the only ones. And special homelands were not allotted to everyone. And just like I don't want the New Testament to be used to dictate the private lives of people who do not ascribe to or do not wish to take part in the New Testament. I don't think the Old Testament should be used that way either. I don't believe in theocracy. I don't believe in it. It's cruel. It's cruel and unjust. So, you know, unfortunately, the culture of Hamas is going to be a challenge for a very, very long time. But the solution of Israel, it, or the Israeli government's solution, is it only serves to perpetuate and make worse the situation of Hamas, the reality of Hamas. So, you know, it's like saying, it's like my alcoholic mother-in-law who would always say, "Oh, I have trouble sleeping, so I have a nip of wine before I go to bed." A nip of wine, meanwhile, is like 3 bottles, right? Which you have to understand, I don't begrudge substance to anyone. I just don't like the lies about it, right? Like if you're lying about it, there's a big problem. That's a huge red flag. What the reality is that, you know, alcohol consumption can inhibit sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, you know, the opposite is really true. So like saying that you're going to get rid of Hamas by this violence, it's kind of the same thing. Kind of like an alcoholic saying that they drink at night because they can't sleep. Yeah. Anyway, anyway, anyway. Some stuff I'm hoping arrives today. It's supposed to. If it does, then I can do a little work here at home. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. I just don't understand. Like, my family, instead of, it doesn't make any sense to me. Instead of asking me about my artwork, about my poetry, about the pieces I make, instead of asking about them, having conversation, they made all kinds of assumptions, which is, if that's what it says to you, that's fine. But what you have to understand that you don't understand is that that might not be what it's actually about, right? That's your bias. And you never came and asked me. You just attacked me for it. You attacked me for my fucking art. Oh, my cousin Michelle. My cousin Michelle Deskovich. Angelone. Whatever. Oh. So, there's this series of photographs that I did that were about the nuclear power plant down in San Luis Obispo, and um, I had just gotten the tattoo work done on my back, and what the tattoo is about and everything, and so it was like a role playing. It wasn't me. It was me playing a role in these photos, which this is what I mean about the ignorance of my family and art, right? Like, I did these photos nude, and they were like, "Oh my God, Larissa's making pornography," because they're ignorant people. They're ignorant people. So I didn't publicize any of the frontal images, right? There was I had an exhibition at the gallery that was about landscape, and these photos were used for landscape, creating landscape. And at the time, I had this installation piece was all of this poetry that hung from the ceiling, and you walked through it, and it made the way that they were hung. It was at different levels, and so it was like walking through the negative space of of a landscape of like California mountains, hills, you know, the way that's what the shape was. And the word, it was about language and how language shapes political landscape. And so I was making this comparison between physical landscape and esoteric or existential or conceptual landscape, right? And we had spoken word for that exhibition and everything too. But there were this series of photos that I did down on Sandspit Beach, and I set up the photos. A friend of mine snapped them, right? But this is what these photos were about. This is why I went down there to do them. And this is what they were used for. So when I sent out the e-newsletter, I had the postcard, which had it didn't have my face. It was a back view. You could see my butt. You could see my butt. Oh, whoop-de-fucking-do. Whoop-de-fucking-do. And you look at little girls walking down the street right now, what they wear, what people wear when they go out. So, and you can see my tattoo, right? And so my tattoo represents the angel in the book of Ezekiel and the Ezekiel wheel. And it's all complete now. At that time, it wasn't complete. I had just gotten the sword done. Because my tattoo took it's like 40 hours of work, right? And I've had it done over a number of years. So anyway, I just gotten the sword part done, and we were doing these photos, and the sword is Uriel's sword, the flaming sword. The flaming sword is this sword of the archangel Uriel, which is not recognized by the Catholic Church. Uriel, technically, they don't recognize Uriel by name. They struck Uriel's name in like six or 700 AD because there were groups that were springing up around the archangel Uriel. So Uriel means the fire of God. The flaming bush, that was Uriel, right? Like the angel that Jacob struggles with, that's Uriel. So Orthodox Christians recognize Uriel. Jews recognize Uriel, and so do Muslims. Catholics are the only ones who don't, right? Who won't acknowledge Uriel. And it's political, not theological, the reason why they don't. Anyway, so that's why it was important to have the tattoo in the image and talking about nuclear energy. And so the image was about having dialogue about the landscape of energy and energy politics in California. And then the piece, the installation piece that I did was also about dialogue. And at that time was when the new translation of the American Bible was released, and there were a bunch of things that were changed, and from the Marian Bible, and new missals and everything. Like I all this stuff was reissued. And one of the biggest things that was changed in translation was the part where they say Jesus died for the sins of all. That was changed. The word all was changed to many. So that one small change, and it's not the only change that was made, what made a huge difference in meaning, because it meant that not everybody was going to go or was even able to go to heaven, right? When it said that Jesus died, when it said Jesus died for all sins to be forgiven, that meant that everybody was equal in the eyes of God and was deserving of forgiveness. But when they changed that word, they were saying that no, that's not the case, and it made that faith more exclusive, less inclusive, and I had a problem with that. And people weren't talking about it. It wasn't being talked about widely at the pulpit, other than in the missal. It was, or not in the missal, in the bulletin, where they have little announcements and things. Please make note that these changes have been made, and we will be saying this now in our prayers, right? That was it. But there was no discussion about the implications of this or how this came to be. I mean, this was after long Vatican inquiry that these decisions were made, and the new translation was released, right? So I had a real problem, and it was a big deal. And I thought it was a real big deal. And that was part of what this whole show was about. It was about how language influences political landscape and the reality of I was specifically looking at California and energy politics in California. That's what that show was about. Anyway, so I have the photo of the postcard with this image in the e-newsletter. And my cousin Michelle reads me the fucking riot act. What if my daughter was with me when I was opening my email and saw that? And I was just like, see what? See what? A natural human body? There's no pornography here. It wasn't a dick pic. It wasn't a crotch shot. But this is the kind of prudishness and ignorance that exists in my family. And these are educated people. Educated. Oh, caused a big stir. Larissa's acting crazy with these naked pictures. But they never stopped to inquire. There was never any kind of intellectual inquiry. And that's what's wrong with my family. And that's why I don't get along with any of them. Yeah. And they're mad because I didn't push out a kid. Oh, some of them are. Right? Just have a baby. How many times have I fucking heard that from people? Just have a baby, have a baby, have a baby, have a baby. No. Not everybody needs to have a baby. And I don't want to take care of anybody else's. Right? Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, so they closed that nuclear power plant, but then they had to reopen it because California's energy needs cannot be served by solar. No, they can't. Oh, and everything, Crimea, the thorium mine and China's thorium reactors in Tibet, and Putin wanting to build a new silk route through the Arctic, and Canada building thorium mini reactors, and oh yeah, that's what this is all about. All about my stupid family punishing me by ostracizing me for making art that they didn't understand, that they never even tried to understand. Anyway, I have more than one bone to pick. That is for sure. And it's not to say that I don't miss having a family. I do. I can't be part of a family that treats me like that. And so, you know, the real thing I've had to grieve is the illusion of what I thought my family was and what I had to wake up to see that they are. And while I accept that everybody's human and everybody's flawed, you know, that that acceptance has never ever been extended towards me by any of them. So, as an adult, it's just challenging. It's just challenging, you know? And there's nobody, I don't want an adopted family. I know, I don't. No. I'm not interested in anybody other any other person, any other family's baggage and bullshit. So, me, Omar, Brody, and Sassy, right? But I'd be willing to go to another country and start over. Mhm. By myself.